Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this latest episode. So sit back, relax, grab your cigar, maybe a drink, and enjoy. What's up guys, welcome to another Friday video, and we are continuing in the series of how to get started. Last week I told you how to get started in picking cigars, what cigars you might want to get started with when you start smoking, and this week I'm going to be showing you the tools of your cigar enjoyment and how to properly cut, toast, and light a cigar. And it's going to be pretty simple and straightforward this week, but in case you've never been properly shown how, or maybe it's been a while and you kind of forgot how it works, or you're brand new at this, I'm going to show you how to enjoy your cigar to the fullest just from those first cuts and puffs and all of that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So cue that music and let's get going. What's up everybody, you're watching Dad Smoking Cigars, sponsored by StogieLives.com and Casa Cuevas Cigars, from our Casa to yours. Thank you so much for joining me for this Friday video. Now, as I said before, we are going to be, I'm going to be showing you how, to cut, toast, and light your cigar. Now, if you're new to cigars, you may not have any idea what that means, or you're curious about it, you may not know how that works. Well, I'm here to just give you a simple, quick tutorial on how to, as I said, cut, toast, and light. Now, cutting your cigar is pretty straightforward because the cap of the cigar, which is the part where you're going to be placing on your lips, it has no opening, nothing for which to draw smoke. So what you have to do is cut. And so there are a number of different ways where you can cut. Now right here I have my Vertigo dual cutter. Now it has a straight cut, otherwise known as a guillotine cut, as you see in the open circle right there. Let me make sure I don't drop it. That open circle right there, the blade goes straight through, cuts a nice straight cut. Now straight cut can be tricky, especially if you're new to cutting cigars, because there have been numerous times, and I've done this before early on in my cigar journey, where I cut too much of the cap off and it opens up the airway to puff on the cigar a little too much, and it just feels like you're sucking through an open straw, and it kind of messes with the cigar experience. You want to make sure that you're getting a good cut just right along the just very tip of the cap, but not too much of a cut. But if that's a little too risky for you, there's always an alternative, and one of those other alternatives is to punch. And I'm not talking about literally punching the cigar. I know that sounds corny, but punch, as you can see, this little metal tab on the end of my Lotus lighter, my table lighter, it shows two different size holes on there and the two different ways you can punch your cigar. Punch a hole in the cap. Very easy, very simple. On the other side of my Vertigo cutter is what's called a V cut. Now this is just a shallow V cut. One of these days I need to get myself a proper deep V cutter. And what it does is it takes a pointed blade, it cuts straight through the top of the cigar and leaves a nice little kind of V-shaped cut. Or if you were to look at it from the very top here, you would see a V pattern going straight through. And amazingly enough, that actually opens up the cigar very nicely. It is one of the best cuts, I believe, in my opinion. But whoopsie, dropping stuff all over the place. But as I said, this isn't a deep V, and I kind of want a nice, good cut on my cigar. I'm not going to go for the straight cut. What I'm going to do, and what you might do for your first time, is to use a punch. And I'm going to go ahead and use the biggest punch cut on the tab here on my lighter. What you're going to do is very gently press the punch into the top of the cap. Can't really see it very clearly. Hopefully you can see it clear enough to know what's going on. And then you just go ahead and pull the punch cutter back out. Now it's not a perfect punch, and if I'm being 100% transparent, I did crack the cap a little bit. So all you got to do is kind of wet it a little bit with your mouth. That kind of will keep it intact, so that way as you're puffing on the cigar, you don't have to worry about it coming unraveled. And I forgot to mention that tonight I am smoking the Espinosa Comfortably Numb. That was the cigar that was chosen in the vote. Only one vote. Come on, guys, you gotta show up when I ask for a vote. But yeah, Espinosa, comfortably numb. It's the first time I'm smoking this, so this should be pretty good. I love Espinosa cigars. They make some really great smokes. So yeah, I think I'm gonna enjoy this one. So anyways, we've cut our cigar by punching the cap right here, and you can probably see clear enough the hole in the cap right there. So that's one way to cut. Like I said, there's also guillotine cutters, the straight cut. This is a butterfly guillotine cutter made by Cigar. They actually make some pretty good stuff. And as long as your cutter is decently sharp, you should be able to get a good cut, even if you're an amateur at cutting, as long as you don't cut too much off of the tip of the cap. So, but now we move on to toasting. Now, what the hell is toasting? Basically, it's kind of a, I don't want to say tricky, but it is got a little bit of a trick to it in that the flame actually doesn't touch the foot of the cigar. The foot obviously is the end that you light. Now, you may be thinking, okay, foot, toast, flame doesn't touch. What are you talking about? Well, you don't want to just like straight torch your cigar, because if you get the flame too close, it is just going to absolutely incinerate the foot. And it also messes with the flavor of the cigar. You want to make sure you're preserving the flavor of the cigar so you're not getting a overly burned or ashy taste, or it's like you're just having burnt tobacco, as opposed to carefully toasting and lighting a cigar to get the maximum pleasure and experience from your smoke. So I'm going to try and show you as well as I can without knocking over my microphone. Got a nice tall flame. What we're going to do is get it as close as possible without actually touching the cigar. Now, toasting the foot of the cigar, I guess, is what you can call your pre-light. It kind of gets the mojo going, I guess, in the cigar. You want to make sure you don't over toast the foot. That happens sometimes. Some people toast it for a nice long time, and you don't want to screw too much with the flavor of the cigar. All right, toasted your foot. Now, same rules apply when you're lighting it. You want to make sure you're getting the flame not as close. Same rules apply when you're lighting the cigar. Now, you want to make sure two things happen here. One, you try not to get the flame too close to the foot of the cigar, and two, as you're puffing, do not inhale. Might be harder than it sounds, especially if you're used to smoking cigarettes, vaping, smoking weed, or anything like that. But don't inhale, won't be pleasant. So, lightly torch the cigar and lightly puff. Simple, easy, not very easy to screw up, I might add. But things do happen sometimes, especially if you're a beginner and you're not used to lighting a cigar, doing all the stuff that I just described. It might be tricky to actually, not foul it up while you're trying to enjoy the cigar. But if you follow what I just showed you, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go ahead and puff on this just a little bit and enjoy it for a few minutes. I'm going to come back with you guys, give you a little bit of my thoughts on the cigar, kind of a little mini review, and then also pour myself a glass of whiskey because I have ice mellowing in here with no whiskey. That's no good. So anyways, I'll be back with you guys in just a sec. Alright guys, I'm back real quick with just a little tidbit on the cigar. I'm smoking the Espinosa Cigars, comfortably numb, very tasty, very just nice and earthy cigar, a little bit of woodiness with a slight hint of spice, a little bit of a subtle sweetness to it, and I'm pairing it tonight with an Aberfeldy single malt scotch. So clearly I'm relaxed. I wouldn't say I'm numb, but I'm definitely comfortable. Ha 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 ha. Anyways, but yeah guys, just enjoying this cigar. I mean, part of the enjoyment is knowing how to one, use your accessories on your cigar, how to properly cut, toast, and light. So that way, when you start smoking it, you don't feel like you're having to kind of stumble and figure out what you're doing as you go along. And you know what? If you kind of pooch the cut a little bit, no big deal. It happens to the best of us. I mean, like I said, I accidentally cracked the cap and a little bit of the wrapper at the top there just when I made my punch cut. So I might have needed to let this rest a little bit longer, but we can get into that into another video. but just make sure that and you're going to only find this out through experimentation with different accessories, whether the V cut, straight cut, the punch cut, or even like any other type of cut is good for you. There's even a brand of cutters called Select Draw, and it's a I guess you could say like a 3 spike punch, where you can kind of punch a little bit on top and on the sides, and it opens up the cigar without ever having to cut it. And a lot of guys like to use that, and they enjoy using that. There's so many different types of accessories you can use, and it all just depends on, well, what you end up discovering you like. And I definitely like the punch. I like the V cut, deep V cut in particular, just because it gets a better draw. I don't tend to use the straight cut as much anymore, just because I always feel like I'm gonna pooch the cut and I never quite get it just right. Call it lack of coordination or whatever you want to call it. But the truth is, I prefer the punch cut. You never know what you might prefer. Toasting and lighting a cigar kind of takes a little bit of practice, but as you get into it, you're going to discover that it's actually really easy to do all those things, and as you do it over and over, you're going to find yourself on an autopilot, and you know exactly what you're doing, and you know exactly how to enjoy your cigar. So, short video this week, but it's a pretty simple and easy thing once you get used to it. And don't be nervous if you've never done it before. I hope this video helps you, or you're hanging out with somebody who can show you the ropes, and you can enjoy your cigars right away. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for joining me for another video. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your support, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and also follow Dad Smoking Cigars on dads_smoking_cigars on Instagram, and be sure to check us out on Facebook. Until then, guys, stay smoky, and I'll see you in the next one.
Alright guys, well that's probably going to... Damn it. Okay guys, well I appreciate you joining me. We're going to... Mother... Well, I appreciate you guys for just... Mother son of a...
Welcome to another edition of Outtakes with Dad.
That's right, I want to wear this shirt. Gotta hydrate. There's not even whiskey in this yet, huh? What you're gonna do is very technical difficulties all over the place. This is fantastic.